Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Cooking with Grief, the podcast with no cooking and the grief is all yours. My name's Chris, and I am of course joined by my strictly platonic partner, the Chewbacca to my Han Solo, the Maverick to my Goose, Chris.
That's me. I'm your Chewbacca.
Yes, you are.
And I'm not...
But strictly platonic.
Well, I'm platonically hairy, I guess. And I've also not seen Top Gun, so I don't know how Maverick or Goose is. Is that a Top Gun thing?
It is a Top Gun thing, well done.
Thanks.
Neither of them are excessively hairy.
Okay, well, I'm neither of those things to your other thing then.
So besides that, how are you today?
I'm good. We're recording. I've got my special podcast hat on. It's all going well.
Before we get going, let's just have a quick reminder of the format for today's show. So, we have both trawled the ocean that is the internet for interesting stories, news items, and or fun facts. And we've each brought 2 items to the podcast for a bit of a show and tell. So neither of us have seen inside the other's mystery box, so to speak. So hopefully we'll all learn something new and have a bit of a giggle whilst we're at it. So without further ado, it's over to you, Chris, for your first tidbit.
So Chris, if you could win any award, what would you most want to win?
Best sound mixing at the Oscars. It's a bit left field, right, but you weren't expecting that, especially considering I have no background in sound editing.
And your name's not Oscar.
That is also true.
Well, I can't offer you that prize because I'm not on the committee, despite all my letters. But I don't know if you know that Britain has a Britain's Rudest Name Award.
Oh, really?
And you did not win this year.
Oh, to be fair, there's quite a lot of competition from all the other Chris's.
Yeah, I mean, and Chris by itself isn't a particularly rude name, unless you, I don't know, add a T and then a swear word. But then the swear word's doing most of the heavy lifting, I suppose.
Exactly.
But the man who did win is called Richard Coxwell. And
I think I know where this is going as well. We'll carry on.
Of course he goes by Dick, because if you're interested in becoming, Mr. Britain's Rudest Name, then of course you're going to go with Dick over Richard. Now, the judging panel took into consideration that he lives at 69 Rump Crescent.
Surely at this stage you got to ask if he's doing this deliberately.
Well, that's the thing, right, is, first of all, what sadistic parents have you got going, right, okay, our surname is Coxwell. How do we avoid I suppose, you're always going to get mocked at school for that. So he's clearly embraced it and thought, you know what, I'm going to celebrate the fact that my name is Dick Coxwell. But then, did he see a house at 69 Rump Crescent and think, I have to buy that?
I'd like to think it wasn't even convenient for him in any way, but he committed to this name and he was like...
or even that he built his own street.
That would be dedication, especially if he had to build another 68 houses just so he could live in number 69.
One does not simply just become Britain's Rudest Names man, but I mean the prize is just like a plaque and a ceremony with other winners. There's no like monetary prize. It's not like the Nobel Prize where you got to give a speech, but then you also get a load of cash with it.
It's just the pride and shame, I suppose.
Yeah, shame. Maybe your other half just turning down marriage proposal, just going, I'm not becoming a Coxwell.
I wouldn't blame her.
Or him.
Exactly. It's 21st century.
It's 2015, guys. The joke there is that it's not 2015 unless you're listening to this in 2015, in which case, how? But also enjoy, because it goes downhill. But the thing that struck me about a name like Richard Coxwell is that, like in Bond films, like not so much like the modern ones, but there was an era where the Bond girl would have a sort of euphemistic name like Pussy Galore or, Jane Nosher, or I don't know, I've not seen them.
I was going to say, I think you're reaching there.
Yeah, I guess. But, I don't work in Hollywood. If they redid Bond where it's Jane Bond rather than James, or it's the main, it's a female lead, will they then go through a period of having euphemistically named Bond boys, Bond boys, men, I suppose? Bond boys, there's something about that doesn't sound great, if I'm honest. But Dick Coxwell is clearly, he might not be able to act, but the name is certainly, like...
You should trademark that.
Mr. Coxwell, I see you...
Coxwell.
So following on from last week, obviously we're hitting, the highest of all highbrows. So that's my first topic. Chris, what's yours?
All right, well, mine isn't genital based. Oh. I'm sorry to disappoint. My thing is about a truck, which is not sexy, but basically, even though we live in the digital age and, we can communicate across time and space, but, we're mostly limited to Earth. Turns out that if you want to send large amounts of data, Amazon will actually send a giant truck round to your, I say your house, but let's be honest, you've probably got a data center or something if you need this. And it's basically a giant USB stick, which is in no way the technical description. But literally, if you want to send, well, it says here, 100 petabytes of data, the internet just is too slow to send that amount of info. But a truck can drive at 70 miles an hour. So they send the truck round, you plug in all your hard drives, upload your data, and it will drive it across the country to wherever it needs to be delivered. That's the future, apparently. Lorries. Big lorries.
That's insane. So what kind of... So it was what, 100 petabytes, did you say?
Petabytes, which is, hold on one here, 100 million gigabytes. Quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of porn. That's probably like a fraction of the porn on the internet.
I knew you'd find a way to make this lowbrow.
I always try.
So all right. Sorry, I'm just still trying to wrap my head around the fact that we live in an age where this is such a thing that Amazon have rolled out a service for it. So what sort of stuff, like film stuff, or?
Well, basically, so Amazon have what is called
A truck.
A truck, yes. No, Amazon Web Services, where basically they host other websites on their servers, including Netflix. So even though they're rivals, Netflix is basically entirely reliant on Amazon's storage and computing. Yeah, so I don't know if Netflix are one of the customers, but yeah, anybody with masses of data to move around, it's just easier to literally drive it places. So it's weird, we've kind of come full circle. We've gone from actually sending letters to people to being like, oh, we don't need letters, we can just send stuff in over the internet, which I hear is a series of water tubes. Yeah, and now we've gone back to, you know what, it's easier if I just stick it in a massive lorry and drive that to you.
So crime used to be, you'd rob a bank, you get the money. Now there's cybercrime where you hack websites. Is it now going to come back to physically halting the truck and stealing hard drives, I guess, and then ransoming the...
And now we've got our first film pitch.
Which, ironically, will be transported on a truck and meet the fate of the actual film itself.
It's going to be a very meta film. In fact, that could be part of the marketing. We could steal our own film.
And we could call it metadata.
And ransom it back to us.
Or John Wick 3.
Here we go. So here's a little thing for you. Uploading 100 petabytes over 1 gigabit per second connection would take 25 years. And this truck can carry 100 petabytes, sorry. Let's have a look at how many zeros this is.
I'm no mathematician, but I'm going to say a fair few.
It's quite a lot.
So
it's 10 to the 17.
Right, okay. I mean, I know that 17 is a number, so I can confirm that. It's sort of staggering, isn't it, really? That
the numbers that you can't really...
Get your head around.
Wrap your head around. So 1 petabyte would be 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0.
Obviously, I'm going to have to cut some of those zeros out in the edit.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for this. If I read all this out, we're going to have to get the Amazon truck to come deliver this episode.
But the thing is, right, like in newspapers, like a common thing is like, anytime any big number around it, they always measure it in the length of trucks, like, So are they going to measure...
It's enough data to fill Wales.
The country or
the Wales.
Cramming just USBs into Wales. Maybe that's what the bloke falls for. Maybe they were very forward-thinking.
They are very smart animals.
Yeah, but I mean, have they got Amazon trucks filled with all the world's porn? Not that I know of.
It would just get wet. I mean, that would be ridiculous.
All right, you're right.
They have Amazon submarines. Duh.
Sorry, I've been a fool.
Give back your science card.
I traded it for a punchline.
It was a good swap evidence.
Yeah, clearly, Jack and the Beanstalk over here.
That's how all segments should end, with a sigh of disbelief.
I've got nothing to
Hope
say.
you've enjoyed it, people, because we haven't. So yeah, that's my Amazon fact for you there. Now I'm going to park the knowledge truck over with you, Chris. I hope you like that segue.
I do. I mean, I don't drive, so it's hard to sort of roll with it like a wheel rolls. So yeah, car reference there. God, I am thick. Chris, have you ever been arrested for being a prostitute?
No, that's an oddly specific question.
Well, it'll become less specific and more related shortly. Because, we've known each other a long time, but, there are some things I don't know about you. And one of those things was, has Chris ever been arrested for being a prostitute? There was a courtesan in ancient Greece called Phryne, I think. Phryne, I could be wrong. Who was put on trial, and her defence was simply to strip naked in front of an all-male jury and ask them if they could really condemn a body so beautiful. And she got off.
And so did they.
So, yeah, there was a lot of shuffling of papers and other
how
things.
well does a toga hide a boner? And that was a historically incorrect joke because Greeks didn't wear togas. I apologise. I will tear up my classics card.
Can you remember what we think of as the Greek toga?
No.
God, our classics teacher would be ashamed of you. It was called a chiton. So you were learning and almost laughing. But the theory was that, like, in sort of Greek society, that beauty was a sign of favour from the gods, so that beauty was inherently linked with goodness.
Yeah.
Like, even to the point that, like, nobles were called the kaloi kagathoi, or the beautiful and the good. Like, literally, like, if someone is beautiful, then they are incapable of doing wrong, so they found her innocent because
she was hot.
It was hot, essentially, and it's just nice to know that we've come such a long way that we try people on their deeds, not on their slamming bods. It's
nice. Humanity has progressed over the last 2,500 years.
Has it? I mean, we've got giant, Amazon trucks, so that is something.
Take that, you Euripides.
But yeah, that'll show him, the dead bastard. But I suppose it's do whatever you can to win the case, I guess. And if you have,
use what you can.
Exactly.
I imagine the two ways of winning a court case then in ancient Greece were either to show that you were beautiful and therefore good, or to just slaughter everybody around you, Kratos style.
Yeah, that is a historically accurate documentary. The fourth installment of which comes out at some point soon, I think.
Yes.
In
which case, give us that sweet sponsorship money. It's probably not the best marketing strategy to give the advert first and then ask for money.
And they go, well, we mentioned a thing. Can we have some of that money? I guess.
So wait, where about? I mean, mate, I don't want to put you on the spot here, in case this isn't in your knowledge bank. But whereabouts in Greece was this? Was this Athens or was it somewhere?
It was the northern bit.
The northern bit, fair enough. I wasn't sure if it was somewhere that we all look back at as the cradle of civilization and then be like, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe they weren't all full of good ideas.
No, I don't know. I would assume it was Athens because the people defending her were all, like, famous socialites. She was a courtesan, so she was sort of linked, embroiled in a sort of noble family. So I'm guessing it would have been Athens. But, scant research as compelled someone listening to this to write an angry comment going, it was in Lystros, you dick, then please let us know in the comments wherever you choose to do that.
And we would actually appreciate that knowledge. Do our research for us.
Yeah, we're both sort of classically educated idiots, just trying to hold on to the few sort of scraps of interesting stuff that we remember from a expensive private school, and then just squandering the rest. Well, I don't know, I can't speak for yourself. I have certainly squandered everything that happened after that. Everything that was given to me on a plate, I've just absolutely spat back in the world's face, and just, I'm a disappointment to most. Sorry, this
has got very personal.
But, I think it all started in childhood, really.
Yeah.
The feelings of real inadequacy.
Would the Euripides joke cheer you up?
Is it the same one that you told last week?
Yes.
All right. Tell me, but use a different garment of clothes, and let's see if we can make this a regular feature where you tell the same joke every week.
I don't think we should. But But for the interest of cheering you up, knock knock.
Sorry, I'm busy right now.
Yeah, it's for the best. I'll be on my way.
I'm busy mending these trousers.
Oh. Apparently, I was reading somewhere about some ancient Greek guy.
Vague.
Which is so vague, I know. But he apparently died laughing at his own joke. Just the way I want to go.
It will definitely be. It was a joke that only me and you laugh at, and then just your family gathered around looking concerned, and me sort of questioning why I'm there. We are joined by his family. I don't know why we're doing the eulogy at the hospital, but
I'm not dead yet.
We are joined by obviously his family and his podcast co-host, the closest human bond two men can find for one another, platonically
or otherwise.
You change your tunes into the intro.
And that also brings us back to ancient Greece, because in that what was that film called? Troy, where they were, what is it called? Achilles and Patroclus? Patrick, the Irish Greek man.
I'm just seeing how high your voice can go.
They're cousins in Troy, but apparently in, I say real life, I mean in a tentatively historical document that nobody knows exactly who wrote it, but they think it might be Homer. They were lovers, weren't they?
Oh, big time, yeah. Yeah, because just all up in there.
And it turns out Patroclus was actually called Dick Coxwell.
Yeah, it was his sort of pet name. Because I think the theory, if I can remember I'd like to point out, absolutely wasted expensive private education, wasn't it like men, they fell in love with other men because it's who they fought alongside and it's who they grew to love, and then they also had wives to raise a family, and they got on.
They were all into that.
It's
like the Spartans, they used to be all into that, despite what 300 would have you think.
Yeah, because I know with Spartans, like they were, I suppose by modern standards, almost quite effeminate. Like before battle, they would wash each other and like shave each other and like do each other's hair.
Sounds like a rugby team, to be fair.
Yeah, that's more private education sort of flashbacks. The showers. But again, we've moved on. We're fine. It's also quite intimidating if you're gearing up for a war and you look across and all the Spartans are braiding each other's hair and gossiping. You think they are so confident about this. They're learning how to do French braids before slaughtering us.
I also read somewhere about the band of Thebes, who were an army where they were all, male couples, and I think they were the only one of the few armies that didn't get conquered by, I want to say Alexander the Great, but I may be just mixing and matching random Greek history.
Welcome to Vague History with Chris and Chris.
Vague, unresearched,
half-remembered truths. Two blokes down a pub going, was it Thebes? Was it the Mongolians?
No, it was definitely Thebes.
It
was definitely Thebes, but I can't remember who they fought. Maybe it was the Mongols. They tend to turn up, don't they? Or Vikings.
Or aliens, or who cares?
Yes, exactly. I'm pretty sure they fought the Daleks.
But I mean, that makes sense. If you're fighting side by side with the man you love most, then you're more inclined to not let anything happen to them. And also probably, if something does happen, to fly into a sort of cinematic rage and,
I'm pretty sure there'd be slow motion.
Definitely, and sort of, lots of glistening abs. It's quite homoerotic, this podcast.
It's definitely taken a turn this week. A turn I did not see coming. We weren't planning on this, but I love you. And I think that's where we're going to call this one.
I agree. Right, so that's my second topic. Please dig us out of this sort of half-remembered history hole. What's your second topic?
Okay, yeah. So we'll transition from half-remembered history into half-understood science. with the news that scientists have created an enzyme that will eat plastic bottles, which is obviously very clever, only it turns out they accidentally created it.
As all the best science comes about that way.
Yeah, I mean, it got me thinking, because penicillin was invented accidentally when Alexander Fleming left the Petri dish open when he was trying to research something else and ended up, coming up with one of the greatest breakthroughs in medical history. A bit less revolutionary, but I'd say no less important, was post-it notes were invented accidentally when somebody was trying to invent a type of glue, and the only glue they came up with was one that didn't work very well. And then they were like, what can I do with this? And we're like, I can just stick it to bits of paper, which I want to stick on stuff, but not for too long.
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
Boom, post-it notes. So yeah, but I can't help but feel like you're kind of going, imagine if you're a scientist who, diligently, listen to all the things you were taught about, like experimental theory and all that, and, documenting everything, or controlling everything so that you only measured what you were looking for, and then some guy's just like, I had no idea what I was doing, I just threw some shit in a test tube and then boom, cured cancer, or accidentally created a supervillain. It could go either way.
I know, I think those are, if it's a 50-50, I'd take those odds. Like, I'd take a supervillain chance.
To be honest, I'd say it's a win-win. I mean, either way, you're getting in the paper.
Yeah, either the news gets more interesting. Well, I suppose either way the news gets more interesting. It's just, okay, so my scientific understanding, as everything I've said so far will make obvious. So it's an enzyme that eats plastic, and then does it produce anything as a waste product? Obviously, hopefully not more plastic.
Well, yeah, no. So apparently,
as a layman, talk me through how it works, if you can.
Okay, this is
some pressure.
This is like the blind leading the blind here. So basically, yeah. So this enzyme breaks down plastic that's been treated and turned into stuff, because plastic's basically a byproduct of oil, and so it takes that down and breaks it back down into its constituent parts, into something that you can then reuse into making into more plastic. So I think basically one of the things is you can recycle, say, plastic bottles, but it turns into like low grade plastic, and also if it's dumped, there's just nothing you can do about it. Whereas the idea is you break it down into its constituent parts so you can remake it into more high grade plastic. So I think at the moment a plastic bottle can't be turned back into a plastic bottle because it's the type of plastic that would just break down in water and you choke on it, that type of thing. But yeah, the main thing is just because most of the plastics now is just ended up in the water, so we can release the enzyme that will definitely stop once it's just eating the plastic we want to eat, and will in no way turn into a sci-fi original movie.
This is the start, like the opening, like flashback of a apocalypse movie. You'll see a sort of, a newspaper flutter past, a desolate landscape that says, scientist, cures plastic. But then the characters will laugh and say, "Oh, one headline so stupid back then." And then it'll, cut forward and it, the enzyme spread and mutated, and then it ate all the penguins, then it ate all the trout, mixing bodies of water somehow. And then we had neither penguins nor trout, and everything went to shit from there.
Yeah, I mean, penguins and trout are important. I would agree. Not the most cinematic of losses.
Morgan Freeman's beside himself.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. If Morgan Freeman gets involved, we've got a winner.
So what were they trying to create?
I'm not actually sure. I mean, probably he was just trying to invent a new bicycle or
to
something.
Find his keys.
Oh, they were actually just looking. So they found a bacteria that naturally ate plastic to some degree. And they were just trying to see how it could evolve, and they inadvertently made it better. They weren't trying to improve it, they were just trying to study it, and accidentally, that thing where you don't even try, but you accidentally make something way better than what all those people were trying their hardest to do, but you just got the touch. I don't know why I'm so bitter about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you went into a particular sort of like research heavy field of science, so it's not like you missed out on crucial funding because of those plastic guys.
Damn enzyme men.
That's not a bad title for the inevitable apocalyptic film, The Enzyme Men.
The Enzyme Men, exactly.
That's the sort of Avengers style big cast of superheroes that that have to team up to take on the bacteria, which is voiced by Vin Diesel, I think.
Oh, he's got an enzyme voice.
What a compliment.
Have you ever watched any of those sci-fi originals or Asylum films? I mean, it's a long shot. You haven't even seen Top Gun, but still, I'll ask the question to be polite.
Thank you for being polite. Of course I haven't. My cinematic knowledge ended at Toy Story 2.
No, there's stuff like, like Sharknado, you may have heard of.
It? Not seen it.
Yeah, there was one I remember watching, which was amazing. I can't remember what it's called, but the setup was, there was a... let me tell you the
Welcome
setup.
to Vague Film Review with Chris and Chris. The same people who brought you spurious, sort of half-baked opinions on history now bring you half-remembered details of films they might have seen, but ones they definitely didn't.
I did see this one. The setup was that aliens were invading through a portal on some tropical island, and at the same time, there just happened to be some commandos on a training exercise on said island, which fair enough action movie setup. But then, at the same time, on the same island, there was a bikini contest going on.
Of course there was.
I mean, what's an island? I actually have had discussions about how to make the perfect film. I've segued massively. Leave me alone, I'm on a roll.
Are you? I thought you just landed in a ditch. What happened? Did the aliens fight bikini-clad commandos? Where were you going?
I can't remember. The good guys win.
Who are the good guys? What are they wearing? Are they going commando or are they wearing bikinis?
Bikinis. Well, yeah, you can't really do both.
I mean, I know you could say this literally.
This is called vague film reviews, Chris. Vague.
That's not a review. It's a half a setup. There are 3 groups of people.
Oh, God, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who might be watching it.
You can't remember the name of the film. How can you spoil something that you dreamt of?
Yeah. In hindsight, this may have just been a fever dream.
You have been very ill recently. On a tropical island.
Yeah.
And just returning my voice to its normal husky tone after that slightly...
Back to enzyme Vin Diesel tone.
So I imagine an enzyme sort of supervillain would have more a gravelly voice, more like a I've come to destroy. Like that sort of...
Exactly. I'd like to imagine, though, because obviously one enzyme's not a lot, but you'd have like lots of enzymes. So I imagine it would, be a bit of a voice of Legion thing going on.
So, or sort of dubbed over...
Like just lots of more. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how we've ended up going from how we're going to turn enzymes into a horror movie, but I'm kind of glad we did. Thank you, science.
Look, we are just the prophets of our time, and I'm just saying, if you see some plastic, look out, because it might eat your face.
Well, the plastic won't, but there might be something chasing it. In fact, the plastic might be just running from the enzyme. So really, if you see any enzyme... if you see any enzymes, you'd have to have bloody good eyesight for that. If you see any plastic, pick it up, because they might be running away from an enzyme.
I mean, okay, first of all, how dare you, undercut my excellent prophecy. But secondly... If you see some plastic on the floor, maybe pick it up anyway, because it's probably rubbish and recycling. Just tidy up your street. Don't. What I'm saying is, if you see some plastic on the ground, don't think, well, should I pick this up because it's fleeing from a sort of enzyme genocide. Just
voiced by
Vin Diesel. Negotiations pending. Because he has to do thousands of voices. He wants thousands of paychecks. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah. We're gonna get this best sound mix in the Oscar if it kills us. See that? Brought it full circle. You thought that was a throwaway joke.
No. Look, okay. The callback and if I'd stopped there, that would have been a perfect place to stop. But I'm nothing if not completely oblivious to comedic timing. and that's a guarantee you can take to the fishmongers. I forgot my point. Why didn't I stop when you said that? That was I mean, I know I could edit this out, but...
Alright, it's too late now. Let's keep going. We're going to have to keep going for another 20 minutes.
Did you see how quickly I got off the topic of science because I'm so baffled by anything? You said enzyme, and I went, oh God.
Wizard.
And I immediately went to, well, it must be killing the penguins, which is... I mean...
Penguins, they're science,
yeah,
aren't they?
They fall under the science. Everything is either science or art, and penguins are our science.
I'd like to say penguins straddle the border between art and science.
Would you know? In what in what way are penguins artistic?
I wasn't expecting any follow-up questions on this, but I'm going to go with the fact that they look like they wear tuxedos, and you wear tuxedos to fancy art events.
Well played.
Thank you. It was tenuous at best. Wow, this has been quite the journey from ancient Greece through to vaguely remembered science, through to many, 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 many genital references. So hopefully you've learnt more than we did. And hopefully you can educate us down in the comments, actually, because it turns out we know fuck all.
Well, we sort of half know. There's a term like pancake knowledge, where we know a very tiny, a little bit about everything. I suppose it's more like a crepe than a traditional pancake,
Yeah.
but I think I know a lot. A little bit about a lot, if that makes sense, which it doesn't to me because I don't know anything.
We get through the first few rounds of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but we'll never actually win the million. So I think we've exhausted all our knowledge for today.
Well, we should go away and stock up on a tiny, fraction more of information.
Yeah, let's go from a crepe to an American-style pancake, and we'll call that a win.
Okay, so what's the ultimate goal, sort of food-wise? Knowledge food-wise,
I'd like
full
to say,
roast.
Yeah, a full roast.
A full roast. We have a full
with Yorkshire pudding.
Obviously it's not a roast without one. Yeah, I think if we could cram our knowledge into a shoulder of lamb, then we're doing something right. And until then, our families are disappointed in us. Again, I can't speak for you, but
I feel like you're working through some issues here. And so until next time, though, I think it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. No, wait. From me. Nailed it.
Adios.
So long. Thank you for listening to this episode of Cooking with Grief. If you enjoyed it, make sure to recommend it to a friend. And if you hated it, then please recommend it to your worst enemy. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email us cookingwithgrief@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter. That's @cookingwithgrief, but no G on cooking, because we're cool. It'd be great if you subscribe to our channel, that way you'll never miss a new episode. And we'd love to get your feedback, so please leave a comment below telling us all about the things we got wrong. Thank you, Internet. We welcome your indifference and or vitriol.